Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in San Luis Obispo County. Today we are joined by the DA of that county. His name is Dan Dow, and your office has been very busy lately. 3 murder convictions, which must be gratifying, devastating deaths, but gratifying that the perpetrators will be held to account. Unique cases, at least 2 of them. Tell us about them.
Right. Well, they both involved the self-defense or defense of others, and the jury ultimately didn't buy the defense version. They actually convicted of second-degree murder. In one case, a young man in his 20s lived with his mom and his mom's boyfriend kind of out in a rural part of the county, and there had been some arguments and fighting in the past between them. On this particular day, the defendant, who was a methamphetamine user, came home and heard some arguing and went and grabbed 2 firearms and decided to go and confront his mother's boyfriend. He claimed self-defense, that the man was charging at him, but the facts of the case did not convince the jury that that's what happened, but that instead he went, took the guns, and committed an unlawful killing, which resulted in second-degree murder conviction.
In the second case, also a similar self-defense claim. The third case, where there was a plea, meth was also involved.
That's right. In that other case, involved, it's a tragic story, the Herbert Brown case, where the victim was his 22-month-old young daughter, and he had care and custody of her for a several-week period. He was not the sole custodian, but he did have sole care for her for those 3 weeks. And the evidence showed that she was abused over a period of time, probably days if not weeks, before she finally was about to die from her injuries. The real problem in that case is that the defendant never called for any medical attention at all. And that's where I believe that the methamphetamine really kind of influenced his ability to think clearly about what to do and to save his daughter. So he ultimately entered a no contest plea to second degree murder. And so he will be sentenced to 15 years to life in prison in a real tragic case.
I want to talk about the use of methamphetamine and what this drug demonstrates and what we're seeing in terms of many of our perpetrators. And it's a constant theme, a constant story of addiction, mental health decline. Right. Tell me what you see as the DA on that front.
Well, you know, methamphetamine was actually a factor. It wasn't a driving factor, but it was a factor in all 3 of those cases.
Oh, the third one as well.
And typically, I think the lifestyle that one ultimately enters once they become a methamphetamine user will lead to a lot of variety of crime. We see that methamphetamine is horrible. You've all seen, I'm sure, those pictures that show someone booked at the very first time he or she was using methamphetamine, and in just over a few short months or a year or 2, the dramatic physical impact it's made on that person. It's a horrible thing for our community to be involved in. But currently in our county, what we're seeing is even a bigger problem than methamphetamine is heroin. And heroin is cheaper than OxyContin and the other opiate drugs, and so young people are getting access to heroin. It's killing our youth. People are dying because it's easy to overdose on it. But the other crime, drug crime that's recently made a resurgence in our county is cocaine. In fact, we've just recently had the largest cocaine bust in probably at least 30 years, if not the whole entire history of our county.
But I have to think that with regard to all 3 of these illicit drugs, the common theme amongst its users, mental health.
Absolutely.
And mental health decline.
Right.
And what we're hearing, seeing, the pedagogy of criminal justice today is we need to address this underlying problem.
Right.
And our friends in Los Angeles County, they're building a whole big new jail, both for men and women. And their focus is going to be, they say, on trying to focus upon addiction, on mental health. I've spoken with your counterpart in Parkinson, the sheriff. He's looking at programs. The whole notion behind realignment is to try to focus on that issue. Talk to us about the role of the DA in that calculation, because you clearly, I mean, you're the first intervener or first responder, I guess you could say, in a lot of ways with these folks.
Well, first of all, my role as a part of the solution is I'm one of the members by legislation of the Community Corrections Partnership.
Right.
So I, along with Sheriff Parkinson and our probation chief and all the other members of our county that are in that partnership, are working together for local solutions. So, you know, similar to what they're doing in LA County, what we've done here is added more programs for the offenders that are in jail. We're trying to get access to certain treatment, both before trial and then after trial, to help address the issues and hopefully reduce them. But one of the other things that we can do as prosecutors is focus in on the demand. And if we can go after those that are distributing it and bring it into our county, like we did in the case of the cocaine trafficking ring, then that will ultimately help to reduce the availability of the drug
And
for
is
our
that
community.
what you're doing? And the reason I ask is, whether one supports Prop 47 or not, that was the initiative that passed in November, whereby lower level possession offenses were reclassified from felonies to misdemeanors.
Right.
The voters seem to be saying, we want you to focus not on the petty users,
Absolutely.
if I can use that term, but on the distributors. So are you able to do that?
Absolutely, and that's what we're finding is that all of the energy that we have in our narcotics task force and our gang task force is really focusing in on the distribution networks. And recent success, it was a wiretap case that ended up resulting in a grand jury that indicted 10 individuals in our county for trafficking cocaine. We won't rest until we find those that are trafficking heroin, because particularly the heroin causing so many young people to...
You did mention that you're trying to funnel these folks into treatment.
Yes.
I understand one of the unintended consequences of Prop 47, I presume it's unintended. You had a tool, as I understand it. The tool was if one was arrested for a drug possession offense, you as a DA could say, well, I could charge you as a felon or I could charge you as a misdemeanant.
That's right.
If I charge you as a misdemeanant, you have to agree to go to drug counseling. And that tool was very successful. Drug courts were very busy, programs were very busy. Now under Prop 47, those crimes are automatically misdemeanors.
That's right.
And from what I'm hearing, DAs are having a difficult time convincing these folks to go into drug programs because misdemeanants wind up not going to jail anyway, and it's not on their record as a felony. Is that what you're hearing?
Absolutely. We're absolutely seeing that, but it's even more direct than that. People that are being ordered to do it, whether they be on misdemeanors or felonies, most of the misdemeanors now, they're failing to even show up for their assessment and to go to the class because
there's no consequence.
There's no consequence or very little consequence to them. And so they know that if they come back on a warrant on a misdemeanor, the jail is likely to kick them because they aren't going to keep misdemeanors very long in the county jail.
So what's the answer? Because look, I'm sure you can appreciate the frustration of the voters when they pass Prop 47. Again, whether you like it or not, whomever you are, that was palpable.
Well, we just had a meeting in recent days with our court and the probation department, the sheriff's department, and behavioral health to say, how do we now bring these people into court, make sure that they show up? Because if we can get them to show up and sign up, then someone's already invested in the process. So we're creating a new date to appear. We just decided, just very practically speaking, we're going to order them to come back and show proof of enrollment that they've actually done that. And if not, then they know there'll be a warrant. So now...
But is that warrant, does it have teeth?
Well, it means they'll be arrested and they'll have to come back before a judge to be ordered to do it again. And
so it's a pain.
It's a pain.
Right.
And so we're going to try it out and we're going to see if it has an impact on at least increasing the number of enrollments. If people start enrolling, I have great confidence in the staff of our drug and alcohol counselors that we have. We have a wonderful county of folks that care deeply about
success?
it. Absolutely. We have a team of folks that I think are better than probably any other county in California. And I'm a little biased.
It's okay, you're allowed. But you're a partisan for San Luis Obispo County. I'm good with that.
They're really phenomenal. They're doing great work, and we've worked very hard because of the partnerships that we have with the various agencies. We've been able to get certain grants to fund these programs, and our staff works very hard at making them successful.
His name is Dan Dow. He is the District Attorney for San Luis Obispo County, where we are today. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Charter Local Edition.